Good morning, everyone. This is the 17th of August, 2013. We're working in Cosmic Fire webinar commentaries. We're beginning 17A. I'm working in a Path of Higher Evolution compilation, which also includes Initiation Human and Solar, and the rays and the initiations material on the higher paths. So we're including some material that is not then in a treatise on cosmic fire. We are beginning now the path of Earth service, the path closest to us, and a path on which are involved many of the masters that we know and that are closest to us. It appears that they are on that path. These Chohans are the heads of the ashrams, such as Master M, Master K.H., Paul, the Venetian master, the Master Serapis for the fourth ray, Master Hilarion fifth, Master Jesus sixth, and ever since the Master R moved into the role of the Maha Chohan, we have another master taking his place. We don't know. He's an unnamed seventh ray master, or, probably, since the head of the seventh ray ashram, then a Chohan. Here from Initiation Human and Solar, page 186, this is the path that keeps a man linked to the hierarchy that is pledged to the service of our planet. So working within still the spiritual, still working within the spiritual hierarchy of our planet, and pledged to the service of our planet and to help, and to the help of its evolution. So not only, to help the human evolution. It comprises those who work under the Lord of the world in the 7 groups into which our masters of the wisdom are divided. Now, is Master DK in this group? Unless we know whether he is now a Chohan or not, we don't know whether he's one of those who made the decision. And that decision would be, perhaps, to continue working within the ranks of the spiritual hierarchy. It certainly seems as if he will be one of the externalizing masters. That is indicated in his writings, and so he will certainly be staying for a while. However, things are so serious, we have been told, that Sanat Kumara has, in a way, reserved the right to retain a number of the masters who might be destined to, as it were, travel elsewhere, so that they can focus their attention on helping this planet to work through a very serious situation, probably most reflected in the crises to which humanity is now subject. Not so many of the masters follow this path as some of the others, and only enough are permitted to do so to carry on the planetary evolution satisfactorily. We know the Buddha chose this path, and we are told that it was not the correct path for him to choose, but that he is now preparing to move on to wherever the way of higher evolution may take him. I think it is said somewhere that Sanat Kumara has signaled to him that he may move on or should move on. More is known about this path than about the others, and more will be found out as members of our humanity fit themselves to contact the brotherhood. So the we could say that the standing brotherhood of masters of the wisdom is the best example of this path, of work upon this path. We can say that the work of the Standing Brotherhood of Masters of Wisdom is the best example of work upon this path. And about this we know at least something, because it is our knowledge of the work of the spiritual hierarchy of our planet is knowledge of this path. Their field of employ, their methods of work will gradually become exoteric knowledge, and as the 7 groups are recognized and known, the 7 ashrams, correct, in a way, the 7 ashrams, schools of development for the filling of posts of these groups will be the logical sequence. And so, let's say, initiates can train to fill these vacancies. But this will come about during the Aquarian Age, and when the knowledge of the hierarchy is more commonly accepted among humanity, and we are told that it will be widely accepted, at least when the Christ is preparing to return. But this was, in a way, the most preliminary kind of statement about this path, and now we get into things that are much deeper. So from Cosmic Fire 1244, the nature of the spiritual force which animates the group of our peculiar planetary initiates will become apparent, perhaps, if the methods and purposes of their work are studied from the standpoint of subjective energy, and not so specifically of the material form. So we want to know what sort of spiritual forces animate this group of abiding and remaining initiates. This point of view can be gleaned most easily from a consideration of the animating impulse lying behind all world groups which are particularly consecrated to the uplift of the race. What is the animating impulse of these groups? I will to be, I will to work, I will to serve and save, I will to lift the race. This is what the first ray type says as he is merging with his solar angel. Those magnificent solar angel sections from the old commentary should be studied closely, because they show us how the merging with the angel creates the true plan-aware server of the race. So what is this animating impulse lying behind all world groups? This will include necessarily all political, religious, scientific, metaphysical organizations. So service necessities are wide and include all the fields which have an important impact on humanity and the planet. It will be found that each and all are definitely related and have a point of at-one-ment with certain of the numerous occult bodies which are usually unknown to the affiliated group, responsible for the vitalization of the principal units in any of these organizations doing their pioneering work. So we have the link between the occult groups and the prominent members of the New Group of World servers. And interesting that the occult bodies have that link and that the members may not know that, and so the different servers in the world are being animated or inspired, unknown to themselves, by the inner work, I would say, of the members of the occult bodies. The first path is the one that keeps the man linked to hierarchy, and this we have looked at earlier, which is pledged to the service of our planetary scheme. And this was material that we just saw from Initiation Human and Solar. It comprises those who work under the Lord of the world and in the 7 groups into which our masters are divided, and this is simply a repeat of what was said in Initiation Human and Solar. But I'll just read it, just so that it sinks in. Not so many of the masters follow this path as some of the others, and only enough are permitted. This is interesting. This is the Lord of the world must designate those who are to take this path. Only enough are permitted to do so to carry on the planetary evolution satisfactorily. So the Lord of the world must, as it were, tap the master for participation in the work of this path. One wonders, though, can the master make this kind of decision first, or must he wait? In other words, is the master in a way passive with respect to this path? I believe also certain masters have to register their choice and then remain, at least in this time of emergency, with the Lord of the world and with the hierarchy. More is known about this path and about the others, and more will continuously be found out as members of humanity fit themselves to contact the brothers of the hierarchy. And we have looked at this. Their field of employ, their methods of work will eventually become exoteric. Even, well, this is somewhat in process now as the knowledge of the ageless wisdom is spread more widely. And as the 7 groups are recognized and known, schools of development for the filling of their posts will be the logical sequence. Okay. The adepts who stay upon this path are distinguished by a dual attribute, which is their guarantee of attainment along this line of spiritual endeavor. Dual attribute. Those who tread every path are drawn to that path because of the quality of their energies, the different achievements they have made along the way. Of course, those achievements may be based as well upon something innate in them which had them descend along the same path that they subsequently followed. They are animated by wise compassion. Wise compassion. It seems this is a blend of the tendencies of the lords of compassion, of compassion, and the masters of the wisdom. A blend. Let's see. Yeah, we'll try that one. We'll probably be writing that quite a bit, and it's better to, in the last analysis, save time. LOCMPS, Lords of Compassion. And, well, we might as well put one more in there while we're at it. LOCMP, Lord of Compassion, such as Master Jesus and the Master Serapis. So, this is a blend of the wise tendencies of the Masters of the Wisdom and the compassion of the Lords of the Compassion, Lords of Compassion. These words should be carefully studied, for they hold the clue to the nature of this first path. These initiates have seen a great deal of life. They understand human ways on this planet. They understand the particular struggle of the kingdoms on this planet. The kingdoms are system-wide, but on this planet they have a particular struggle with the energies of the previous solar system. And they can wisely apply energy. They have a deep love, a sympathy, a feeling with the others. They have developed this capacity to feel what others are feeling. They identify closely with others, and yet they are not so carried away by the energy of love that they lose their wisdom. This is always, there's always the need to balance these two factors of love and wisdom. An overabundance of love in expression can do harm. I remember D.K. telling us that we must not meditate upon a certain unnamed constellation in group form, as it would release too great a tide of love, which would upset the balance on our planet. So these words should be carefully studied, as they hold a clue to the nature of this first path. The adepts who choose this path are called esoterically beneficent dragons. And the energy with which they work and the stream of living force upon which they are found emanates from the constellation of the dragon working through the zodiacal sign Libra. Now here's something we really have to understand. The dragon is said to hold the same position in the one about whom naught may be said as the base of the spine center. At least there is a hint there, and if you work out the analogy you can see that this is the case. We have here, so not just the seventh ray force, not just the seven-ray force, and not just the third ray of Libra, but the Buddhic force of the dragon, and the second ray energies of Libra, divine understanding, divine love and understanding. As we see on page 333 of Esoteric Astrology, Libra is not just a third ray sign. This I have indicated often. They're also called, I think, lesser dragons of wisdom, because the planetary logoi are the greater dragons of wisdom. So beneficent, the beneficence is interesting because masters who express beneficence, well, let's just put it like this. The planetary logos, which confers beneficence at the fifth initiation, is Jupiter. And we learn that Jupiter and Uranus at that initiation give beneficent organization to the master. He knows what he has to do. His motive is entirely beneficent. He fits well into the scheme of things and helps to bring about in humanity, through his beneficence, a reorganization of human life. So beneficent dragons, and this reminds one of the solar angels as serpents. Well, we can call it like wise serpents of fire. There is no such name actually given, but if you really think about their connection with the serpents of wisdom and their connection with the fiery world, this name may be suitable. Fiery world meaning the cosmic ethers, particularly of the cosmic astral plane. So we have here qualities of wise compassion. We should bring that into our understanding. Takes a while to develop that kind of balance, and they are known as beneficent dragons. When you are a dragon, there's a certain kind of solar fire available to you. The dragon is an expression of solar fire and of the love aspect of divinity. We are reminded that the planetary lords, the ray lords, they have developed the love energy not yet fully the cosmic will energy, but they have developed the cosmic love energy, and for that reason they are called dragons of wisdom. We have to remember there's so much, this is what I want to say, so much Buddhic force or energy coming from Draco, and also from the Pleiades, so closely connected with our Earth. What is it, Merope? Is that the Pleiad we are thinking of as related to the Earth? She married a mortal and hid herself in shame. I mean, she would also have to be, I think, related to Saturn, if she is a third-ray star. But Earth has been expressing the third ray in its personality, and I think the Pleiades have a special relation to Earth, as does Taurus, and this may be the one, Merope, who has a special effect upon our Earth. We have to remember the Buddhic effect of the Pleiades, because there's a special connection of the Pleiades with our Earth and with our planetary logos. So remember the Buddhic effect of the Pleiades, TCF 1162. It's always an amazing section there. So this special attribute, spiritual energy, produces in all these groups which come under its direct influence a profound faculty for identification. This is one of the key ideas here on this path. You know, the union with another, not just in harmony, but in identicality. Identicality. Knowing the sameness of the spirit, and knowing the identicality of the soul. One soul, one spirit. This identification does not concern the form nor the soul, but only the spiritual point of positive life. Yes, which in the human unit we call the jewel in the lotus, which is the monad in extension. So we identify, well, of course we know there is one soul, and these masters know there is one soul, but a more important type of identification is with the extension of the monad, the central fire within the center of their sense of soul identity. We all have a qualitative sense of soul identity. We are all distinct from each other. We all have a qualitative sense of soul identity. We are all distinct. But in the jewel, we are all identical, which is another way of saying that in the monad, we are all identical. Okay. I want to IDL, IDC. Yeah, IDC is identical, and IDCL is identicality, or will be. I use those words a lot because it's seeing the identicality of things is for me really an inner imperative. Although it requires a kind of simplicity which my type of mind does not easily, to which my type of mind does not easily acquiesce. But one must learn it. So it's with the central point of positive life that the identification occurs. We could say that this is oneness in the realization of the monad. It should be remembered in this connection that there is a jewel at the heart of every atom, and every jewel has 7 facets, which are 7 doorways to the 7 paths. So this is probably a strong hint about how the Master uses the central jewel, which ultimately is the monad, to tread one of the 7 paths. Okay. Right. And we'll make that as well. SVPS. Okay. To tread one of the 7 paths. In other words, there must be, we know when we think about treading a path, we oftentimes think of walking, we move one foot in front of another, or we travel in some conveyance, but these paths are trodden through intensity of focus, by achieving a certain point of tension, and by insulating, focusing on a certain stream of energy and insulating one's attention so that it is given to that stream of energy. So what are the methods by which paths are trodden? And through achievements of the requisite points of tension, requisite points of tension, and through concentration, which is really occult insulation. And it's they are trodden by a type of what I can call monadic attunement, and it's not just an attunement. They are trodden by a type of let's call it intensity of monadic attunement. See, we have to disabuse ourselves of visualizing the body as the main actor. Here, the consciousness and the spirit are the main actors in the treading of any path. One cannot tread all paths simultaneously, and in order to do anything well, one must concentrate upon it. And there are streams of energy that are related to these paths, and an intense concentration at a requisite point of tension and an insulation from other disturbances will be needed in the treading of these paths. One must shut other things out, as tempting as they might be. Shut other possibilities out, as tempting as they may be. And especially we'll learn on the ray path that this is peculiarly the method, this method of occult insulation. The beneficent dragons are distinguished by their luminosity. So right away you kind of, what you see here is the connection with Taurus and the Pleiades. Because Taurus is the mother of illumination, and very closely related through Venus to the Earth, we have been told. And it is this basic quality which lies behind the injunction given by all spiritual teachers to their pupils in the world, let your light shine forth. And this is what the masters of the wisdom are preparing to do before the eyes of those human beings who can appreciate at their stage of evolution the light. Let your light shine forth. So we also remember that the hierarchy is called the hierarchy of light, is it not? When the adept enters through the luminous door, he has before him four very peculiar and esoteric identifications. The luminous door, would we say, of this path, perhaps? So the adept, he is a master, and now he is a Chohan. Particularly, masters can actually stay in affiliation with the planet for a long time, working out particular forms of service. It doesn't necessarily mean that they choose an extended period on this planet, but generally from mastership to Chohanship there is quite a period of service. I've gathered that, and so they are with us, although not all are by any means known to humanity. The door of light, the luminous door, perhaps indicating the quality of light which is found on the other door, on the other side. Luminous door may indicate that intensification of the light which is found on the further side of the door. Of course, one is speaking here entirely in symbols. There's nothing literal about it. It's a door. A door is the threshold on which a change, or threshold at which a change of vibratory frequency is achieved. This entrance takes place after he has passed the fifth initiation, and we'd have to say, but how much after? Because what has happened now is I think the requirements are always being raised, and the requirements here for treading these paths have been raised in recent times, it appears. So much in the early books seems to say that after the fifth initiation one can tread these paths. But now Chohanship seems to be required for that. Chohanship. Well, it's not such a common word. Okay. And has demonstrated his fitness to do so through a long period of service in connection with our planetary evolution. So that is the long period of service following the fifth degree. So, in fact, there is a long period of service following the fifth degree, because the master knows somewhat now of the planetary purpose of the Lord of the world, and can serve with greater exactitude and effectiveness. Exactitude and effectiveness. These identifications. So there's going to be four very peculiar esoteric identifications, and it's kind of interesting. The number 4 is so important in connection with humanity. Important in connection with humanity and this fourth planet. fourth from the sun of the sacred planets. So he goes on to say that these four identifications eventually bring about within the jewel, which is essentially the true spiritual unit. And that's such an important sentence, because what it really means to say is that essentially the jewel in the lotus is the monad, and the monad itself is a kind of jewel. What is a jewel anyway? It's called a central fire, but it must be a jewel. Must be a highly organized relationship, highly organized and very stable and enduring energy relationship. So it eventually brings about within the jewel or the true spiritual unit a momentous happening. And these identifications are undergone within the monadic consciousness after the transcendence of the atmic sheath. So we've talked about the atmic. I'd like to refer to it. Sometimes I call it the atmic causal body, but that might be a little confusing. So atmic body of causes in the 5 lower worlds. The atmic body of causes may be destroyed, thus liberating the monad from the 5 lower worlds. So the atmic sheath is transcended as the 6th initiation approaches, or at the 6th initiation, I suppose. The atmic sheath, atmic sheath is transcended as the 6th initiation is approached. The monad is severing its relationship from the 5 lower worlds, if that is the choice. Some, of course, will remain, especially those on the path of earth service. They will keep those 5 sheaths. The Buddha left 3. I believe it could be said the Buddha left his 3 sheaths, triadal sheaths, and did not need to, return to use those, except in a way he has been returning, as we learn, at great sacrifice to himself. So the atmic sheath, very simply, one must be a master to transcend the atmic sheath. Must be a master, transcend the atmic sheath, ATM. Atmic sheath. And one doesn't really utilize the atmic sheath until one is a master. This is some time after one has been made a master, because mastership requires the use of the atmic sheath. These 4 identifications are connected with the 4-fold lotus of the solar logos, or with his 12-petaled heart center. This lotus is sometimes called the heart of the sun and concerns the subjective sun. Well, all right. Here we have something very interesting and very important. If, as I suspect, the heart center of the Solar Logos is focused on the monadic plane, then we can see how this process involving four identifications within the monad would occur in relation to the Solar Logos. So we know that the heart of the sun is often thought of as the egoic lotus of the Solar Logos. But here there is another heart, as it were. So it's a fourfold lotus, so we wonder about the arrangement, or his 12-petaled heart center. We're being given an important hint about the arrangement of the petals in the heart center of the egoic lotus. We are given an important hint about the arrangement, not egoic lotus, but heart lotus, arrangement of the petals in the heart center of the Solar Logos. In perhaps 4 tiers or circles. So this lotus is sometimes called the heart of the sun, sometimes, and concerns the subjective sun. The subjective sun has a connection with the cosmic astral plane, and there will be on that plane, of course, a cosmic astral heart center. So we seem to have an alignment of heart centers here. So we have a fourfold identification. It's connected with a heart center of the Solar Logos. This lotus is sometimes called the heart of the sun. Okay. It's a 12-petaled heart center. It's not his 12-petaled egoic lotus. So that is something, although there would be a connection. Let's put that down. So we are not talking about the 12-petaled egoic lotus of the Solar Logos, but of his etheric heart center. And of course, what we are basically saying is the human monad is within a heart center of the Solar Logos, an etheric heart center. Now, I would expect it, I've discussed this before, to be connected with the head center of the planetary logos, but we discussed the idea that maybe all head chakras are on the logoic plane, though on different subplanes of the logoic plane. This still has to be sorted out. Where exactly on our cosmic ethers are the head centers of our planetary logos? Where are they? Where are the head centers of our solar logos? Obviously, the head centers of our solar logos are going to be on a higher vibratory level than the head centers of our planetary logos. Will it be on the logoic plane on different subplanes, or will we actually be changing planes altogether? In other words, would the 7 circles of monads be within they are within the planet, but they are also within the solar logos. So what are they to the planetary logos, and what are these 7 circles to the solar logos? That has to be answered. In terms of our planet, we have Shambhala as a great head center, but it might represent something quite different to the solar logos, and then the monads would be incorporated differently within the solar logos. So anyway, 4 identifications, probably on the monadic plane, in relation to the heart of the sun, which is the 12-petaled lotus, in apparently 4 circles, or at least 4 distinct parts. That's quite a bit of information, you know. 4 identifications on the monadic plane, taking place in relation to the etheric heart center of the solar logos, which may be monadically focused. Quite a bit of occult information there. Really fascinating how much occultism can be given in just a simple sentence. And of course he says, it is not, however, possible to say more along this line. Maybe as a monad, you know, we are receiving direct vibration from the solar logoic heart, and then also from the, I would say, planetary logoic head center. So what is the equivalent to Shambhala within the solar logos? You would have to have relationship to the central spiritual sun. It would have to be some kind of monadic equivalent. But our monad may in a way be more related to the heart of the sun than to the central spiritual sun of the solar logos. I put that forward as a hypothesis. Our human monad may be more related to the heart of the sun of the solar logos than to his central spiritual sun. Though ultimately all monads are one, regardless of the material plane through which they most commonly express. The plane through which a monad expresses does not change the essential nature of the monad, which is pure being. These 4 identifications are only undergone upon this particular path, and are each preceded by 3 lesser identifications, yes, which make a totality of 12 identifications corresponding to the 12-petaled lotus. So you kind of wonder about the relationship of astrology and the zodiac to these 12 identifications. So we have a division of 4 with okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. A division of 4 with the elements implied: fire, earth, air, water. Upon the earth, one would have to have facility with these elements, because so much of planetary life, so much of our planetary life is concerned with them. The building process on our planet is concerned with them. So 4 major identifications. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is interesting. But let's see, we have 3 and another. 3 and another. I think we have to be careful here, because we're going to end up with a 16 instead of a 12. 4 identifications, each preceded by 3 lesser identifications, which make a totality of 12 identifications. Well, is that really true? Let's see how we have to look at this, because we have 4 major, each preceded by 3. So that is 4 times 4 equals 16, unless each of the major 4 is somehow a uniting of the previous 3. You know, we might superficially read this. There are 4 identifications in relation to, yeah, it's as if, suppose there are 4 circles of petals in this logoic heart center. Then the identification, the 4 identifications, would each concern one tier or circle. And the major identification would be a synthesis of the 3 lesser involved in a tier of 3, let's say, petals. So we have a potential 16 or a 12. It will be noted by the accurate student that we are now discontinuing the use of the word initiation, which has to do specifically with consciousness. Although, when we talk about on the path, the 7th initiation, the 8th initiation, the 9th initiation, maybe some other name should be given to them, but we still continue to use that word. I suppose we'll be using it less, and the word identification will take the place of initiation. So initiation has specifically to do with consciousness and therefore with duality, and are utilizing a word which connotes synthesis, though very inadequately. So the term identification connotes synthesis, and the monad, as it treads the 7 paths of higher evolution, let's look at that. 7 paths of higher evolution. We'll as it treads the 7 paths of higher evolution, is already in a state of identification and has overcome any deluding sense of duality. It will be noted by the accurate student that we are now discontinuing the use of the word initiation, which has to do specifically with consciousness, and therefore with duality, and utilizing a word which connotes synthesis, though very inadequately. I suppose the inadequacy comes when we think of this as identified with that, thus suggesting duality, which is not there. Okay. The energy which is manipulated in the process of these identifications is largely that pouring through the sixth hierarchy. Sixth hierarchy, supposedly the divine lives or divine flames, the first of the manifested creative hierarchies, and the sixth hierarchy beginning with the liberated Piscean hierarchy of intelligent substance. So the energy, let's see if this is what it is, pouring through the sixth hierarchy, which has an esoteric relation to the sixth path, onto which the initiates of the path 1 will eventually have to fight their way. It's a peculiar term, to fight one's way. Note how we are proceeding through the use of what I call numerical resonance. We are creating relationship or noting relationship based upon numerical resonance or on numerical identicality or on numerical identicality. The form through which the adept must work in order to demonstrate his control of the energy concerned may not be given here, but there are tests all along the way, and control must be demonstrated for success. Or if there is to be success. It may only be stated that luminosity is gained upon the battleground through a fight with the dragon, presumably the lower dragon, and maybe Saturn is indicated, because Saturn is sometimes called the lesser dragon, and Saturn rules the cosmic physical plane specifically. So the following summation may be found suggestive. Okay, it's the path of Earth service, the attributes wise compassion, the source, the constellation of the dragon via Libra. So the balances will be a factor of note. 12 cosmic identifications. They are happening apparently on the monadic plane and within or in relation to the 12-petaled etheric heart center of the solar logos on the monadic plane. The hierarchy whose energy is given is the sixth. These are the divine flames. I suppose what we should do is look here. The divine flames, the divine lives, Leo, Parashakti, supreme energy, fire, air, and the logoic plane. It's the only sixth hierarchy that we have. I suppose we could count up from below, but there's nothing indicated there, and if we were to choose, there's no number 6 here in the liberated hierarchy, so I guess it has to be that creative hierarchy. And, right. Okay, where are we here? Oh, we're in the compilation. That's where we are. The symbol, a green dragon, issuing from the center of a blazing sun. Of what color we do not know. Behind the sun and overtopping it can be seen 2 pillars on either side of a closed door. The pillars suggest Gemini and the entry into greater light, a higher form of the mysteries. The door is closed now, but later, after service, it may be open, because the paths which lead away from our solar system are deferred. Thus the door is closed, perhaps. The green dragon is suggesting the third ray, and its wise compassion is applied in those realms which are ruled by the green dragon, within the third aspect of divinity of the earth scheme, which is in need of redemption. And probably we're going to see how Libra works here as well. We don't know what color is the blazing sun, but all that came from the previous solar system can be seen as related to the green dragon. And, well, I don't know that I needed to capitalize that. Somehow it seems important. Dragon, and perhaps from this solar system a blue dragon will emerge. The third ray nature of the Pleiades and the connection of Draco and the connection, no, that's the planetary logos of the Pleiades, and the connection of Draco with the third aspect of divinity, found at the base of the spine center, must be factored in. The quality gained is luminosity, even though submerged on the cosmic physical plane. And we wonder whether Pleiades, Taurus, and Vulcan may be involved here in gathering this luminosity. All right, there's so much there, but of course in the esoteric stanzas we will learn more. So for the moment, that's enough. This will be the end of Cosmic Fire Webinar Commentaries, number 17A, page 20 of the Paths of Higher Evolution Commentary, or compilation. Aha. Right. And we will begin Cosmic Fire Webinar Commentary 17B, page 20, and we will continue. Okay then, for the time being, we carefully move forward best we can.